You can, but it doesn't always work, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't always work. Well, petition inspectors, all the fun things, we look at them as learning curves, right? Casey and Piper on our team are here, and one of the big things, thank you, Jason. Thank you.
They've worn it all.
They have, oh, okay. And what?
You don't go backwards.
Where's the SOS
That's
button?
why it's
Where's
not there.
Jason? Help.
I'll be here.
Okay, all right, you're gonna stick around?
And then you have a red dot if you need it.
Woo-hoo! That I can handle. And if we need to back out of this and go to
You just.
a link, we just talk to you. Thank you.
Ooh,
I
I
love that.
need that.
I love that. Well, what I was gonna say is, Casey and Piper on our team here are here to remind me religiously that, hey, it's context, it's the way you look at things, right? It's so much of real estate isn't what you probably thought real estate was about. Would you agree with that, Lisa? What percentage of real estate, Lisa, would you say is what you maybe thought real estate was about when you first started?
5%.
5%. Wow.
She thought it was showing houses because she learned at a house hunter. She thought that she could show people who sell pencils for a living $1 million homes.
Right now, I'm a project manager.
Project manager.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I have sellers that have relocated already, and as soon as they left, water in the basement, AC broke, dishwasher broke, mildew in the garage.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How many hats would you say you wear on a regular basis, a
Well,
regular
they're
day?
also going through divorce. I'm a therapist,
Sure.
referee,
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
the accountant.
And the
All of
accountant,
it.
and, right? So anybody have an aha right there? 5% of real estate's maybe what the average person thinks real estate is really about? Or is you all like, nah, I don't need that? Anybody here? No? Okay, thanks for your bravery, thank you. Yeah, so, Jason, what can I do right now other than just the obvious and keep rolling? Is there anything I can do to help to, hey, this is important to our group?
I think today we can cover a measure of listing, but someday,
Okay,
depending on how you get through this, you know that my favorite is the paper.
yeah.
And that, and talking a little bit about lead generation tactics, but
Awesome.
we can put that one in a pin, and if there's time, we can pull it back down.
Bam, love it, okay. Well, good morning, I think it's still morning, everyone. My name is Chad Skluzacek. Smith is fine. I am a realtor here in the office. We have a team on that side of the hall, and proud to be here in front of all of y'all, talking a little bit about measuring listings. So Jason invited me, and I'm honored to be here. Something I came from, this is a part of my background. I was in the building world and transitioned through education, flew some planes for a while, and then said, you know, what do I want to do when I grow up? And somebody inspired me to say, hey, talk to people. You're okay with communication, and sometimes you talk too much, so you should become a good realtor. And so here I am today. So we are going to talk about how to measure listings. I love to start every class with a little bit of energy, right? Kind of like, you know, first of all, congrats, you're all here, right? You're all growth-minded people, whether somebody forced you to be in this room or whether you said, you know what, I want to make a difference with my clients, myself, or my checking account, and I think that this is a good way to do that. All good reasons to be in this room. I'd like everybody to stand up briefly and say, I'm Chad Skluzacek, been in real estate for, I don't know, too long now, 11 years, and since 3 years old, chasing dad around job site to job site previous to that. So I've kind of been involved in real estate most of my life. And one thing I want to learn today is about what you all want to learn. So Piper, do you want to be our guinea pig and stand up first and say who you are? How long have you been in real estate? What do you want to learn today? Just spend a couple minutes if you're okay with that, Jason.
Your show, brother.
My name's
We do
Piper.
you.
Hi Piper, who are you? Where are you? How many years in real estate and what do you want to learn today?
I'm Piper. I don't know, been with the brokerage for maybe 2.5 years, something like that. And I want to learn how to successfully measure a listing and the steps we have to take.
All right, measure and steps, love it. All right, Casey, if you want to go next.
Hi everyone, I'm Casey Meyer. I've been in real estate for 4 weeks, 4 days. I was in early childhood education, but recently joined the CMS team as the exec admin assistant. And I'm looking forward to learning about measuring the listing and hopefully gaining some skills so I can be supportive in that process for CMS.
Wonderful, great. Any other brave souls?
I'll go ahead.
Thanks, Jason.
I'm Jason. I've been in real estate for, I don't know, 4.5 years probably.
Woo-hoo.
And today, as is always the case when I'm in a class with another presenter, I want to learn presentation skills and techniques. I will watch you more for that than I will for the actual
Don't watch too
content.
close.
I can watch the content that's recorded.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I'm open to feedback too. I always, so my fly's open if I do something silly. You know.
Broccoli and tea?
What's that?
Broccoli and tea?
Yeah, actually blueberries, but yeah. Anybody else who wants to stand up? All right,
I'm Kelly, been in real estate now for 3 months-ish,
all right.
and I want to learn anything and everything I can.
Anything and everything, love it. Who's next?
I'm Natasha.
Hi, Natasha.
I got licensed in April, and I would just love to learn anything and everything.
All right, growth oriented, love it.
Hi, I'm Riley. I've been in real estate for 4-ish months now.
Woo-hoo.
And I don't know anything about measuring, so
Okay.
literally everything is that.
You're in the right class. All right. Brave souls, raise hands.
I'll go now.
All right.
Hello, my name is Zaina. I've also been in real estate the same amount of time as them, so around 3 months. And the same goals as they said, just learn everything and obviously how to measure listings.
All right, fantastic, great. Who are you, Thomas?
Hey, I'm Thomas.
Hi, Thomas.
I've been in real estate for a little bit over a month, and I'm also excited to learn everything you have to tell us and also about how to measure the listings.
All right. Any other brave souls?
Yes, I have to.
Which
I'm
one is
Melissa. I've been in real estate for almost 2 years now. What I'm looking to learn today is more about foundations specifically.
Foundations.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Remind me to talk about that. We'll go back to that. Okay, great.
Hi, I'm Lisa Brainer, 9 years.
Woo-hoo.
Anytime Chad's teaching, I want to come because it's just, he's awesome. With his building background too. I have personally relied on hiring out for people to measure for me.
Yeah.
And so it would be nice just to have a backup because sometimes you don't get that right away.
Yeah.
So maybe some tricks on what I should for sure measure and maybe the room dimensions someone else can do, I don't know.
Yeah.
Foundations too has been kind of a big deal because your numbers don't work out on that square footage, it's all comes from the foundation, so I'd love to hear more on that.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's circle back on that. What was the word you used a little while ago? It started with an H, ended with an E. There's 4 letters in there, I think you said. Is it higher?
Higher, oh yeah.
Wow, what's that all about?
This is the photography company,
Yeah.
they do the floor plans for
Yeah,
me.
great.
So that's how I get my measurements.
Did anybody hear what she just did? Anybody ever heard of the red book that Gary Keller put together called the MREA? Anybody ever seen that red book or heard of it? If you haven't, that's okay. In that book, there's a triangle, and on that triangle, there's 3 sides. Has anybody ever seen that diagram before? One of those 3 sides is leads, one is listings. Does anybody know what the third one is? Leverage. Leverage, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that. So hiring out, yeah, it's okay if you don't know how to measure a listing. Not everybody was born by a general contractor, right? You might have been, mom might have been, I don't know, an attorney. Well, I don't know, whatever mom did, teacher. So we'll learn, you know, it's okay to leverage other people. Jamie, who are you and how long you been in business, Jamie?
Hi, I'm still figuring out who I am.
All right.
I'm Jamie.
You both.
I also like Pringles, Chad. And I've been in real estate for 15 years, and my main objective, amongst others, is to just adequately represent what you do today to the rest of the company, as well as promote you on social media adequately.
2 high fives and a Ric Flair.
Ooh, that's
Good
nice.
man. All right. Oh my gosh.
Best for last.
Here we go. We did
She
say
said best for last. She said it.
That is not what I said. But if it's true, whatever. So my name is Misha. I've been in real estate. Hi, Chad. I've been in real estate 6 years, and I'm here for 2 reasons. 1, to support you, and 2, to know what's important to measure. Do you have to measure everything? Things like that.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Great call. We're gonna jump right in. I've got an old slide from, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, so we're just gonna fly through this kind of quick. If anybody has questions, please raise hands. I love energy. If I see heads down and scrolling on phones or doing this, I'm gonna screw it up, right? I want y'all engaged, so I want you to talk as much, if not more than me, if possible at certain points. So I know it's scary, but I don't really wanna raise my hand because this is a silly question. No, it's not. really isn't. The more questions you ask, the more you engage, the more, I think, if you're like me, you'll learn. And that's why we're here. So we're here to learn how to measure a listing. We're going to talk about what's important. We just talked about energy. Keep it real, stay involved, raise hands. This is Skluzacek construction. Like I mentioned, 3 years old, chasing dad around from job site to job site. So my background in building. Left in what? I don't know. I was there for 10, 12 years, off and on summers, and made some cash in the summertime, learned how to build homes and measure homes. And then moved on to real estate in 14, and here we are in 25. Woohoo! Time flies fast when you are having fun. And I'm having a blast. So, okay, various resources. I think Lisa mentioned or asked some questions. Again, this is a little old, so we'll add and subtract. But we have people, we have leverage. Don't be afraid to use photographers that can do measurement. We do that. I can measure a listing really well, I think, and I don't do that every single day, right? I leverage other people. You only have so much time, so pretty soon, Piper and Casey are gonna be running out measuring our listings because they're gonna get real good at it. And then they'll support the photographer, and we'll all have a team of people that help us measure. So it's okay to leverage. When I was in the building world, it was about draftsmen and architects and people like Dad, and then they built blueprints together and they worked on foundations. And what I realized when I switched to real estate, it's the same thing. There's no difference in real estate, it's all foundation based. So my dad was a foundation contractor, I'm a foundation contractor. My foundation is a little different than Dad's. Dad's was building buildings, mine is in relationships and teams. It's still foundational though, right? So leveraging and understanding good foundations, no matter what you do, is super important, and we are building your foundation as we speak, so kudos to everybody in this room or on Zoom, well done. Surveyors, when you measure land, we'll talk a little bit about that. Does anybody here dabble in new construction or have any interest in new construction whatsoever? Couple, 3, 4, 5 hands, okay. So new construction's awesome, amazing, it's different, and it can be scary or it can be fun, depending on who you are. I thought it was fun, I still do. It can be different. So there's a unique, altogether another class that we might consider talking about if we go into new construction. We'll dabble in that today, but we're going to focus primarily on nuts and bolts on measuring listings today. Utilizing counties and municipalities. Casey's 4 weeks into the team, and she said, Chad, Bryce County, where I'm actually living, is an amazing county for leveraging support to find measurements. Is that what you said, Casey?
Yeah, their tax documents are very comprehensive compared to other counties.
Anybody else researched or seen that Hennepin and Ramsey might be tricky to get information, but if you go to other counties, they might have more information. Yeah, that's normal, right? So some counties do a great job, some okay, some not so great. So that's normal. So we have to dig deeper. Okay, realtors exist using existing and new information. Anybody ever put a listing on the market before? Raise a hand. Great. Has anybody fallen victim to taking the old information, replicating it, and then trying to make adjustments for the new? Lisa's saying I've never done that before.
I pull it on property taxes.
You do? Good for you.
Get my own.
Good for you.
I'll look at to compare,
Good.
but I just.
Why don't you replicate only what you've seen in the past?
Because I'm responsible for it and I don't want to trust anybody else.
Did you hear that? So what is Lisa portraying? Is she a functionary or a fiduciary? Yeah, fiduciary. What is a functionary? Wake up, breathe in the mirror. It fogged up. I'm alive. I'm 18 years of age, and I got a license in my back pocket. Let's go. I'm a real estate agent. That's a functionary. I open doors, I write offers, still functionary. What is a fiduciary? Next level. I know there's information I could copy and paste, but I chose to really do it the right way and make sure I'm measuring. So, okay, that's the difference, and that's what we're all going to learn. You're all going to become what or are what?
Fiduciary.
Yeah, fiduciaries. That's what separates. That makes you the 10%ers. Realtors using existing and new information for listings, local MLSs, YouTube channels, other online resources, photographers. There are companies that specialize only in measuring. Matterport, I think for the commercial people, they use Matterport. If anybody's ever heard of that. Really cool stuff out there, and I guarantee a lot more. So here's some old applications. RoomScan Pro, I don't know how much it is anymore. That's probably 8 times that much. Probably still $4.99. A tape measure. A Magic Plan for Androids. And there's about 100 other resources. I have my contractor people use other apps on their phone, and they also use stuff from Home Depot, literally just super simple lasers. Anybody have a laser that you can point and click, and then it'll show up a measurement on your device? Anybody ever use those? Yeah, Misha said so. Okay, great. There's lots of stuff out there. We can talk more on that later. Blueprints. Anybody ever ask an owner, especially if it's a 30, 40-year home or newer, if they have the original blueprints? Anybody ever done that before? Yeah, Lisa has. Okay, great. Blueprints are awesome. They're awesome, okay? The builder way of measuring a listing and the realtor way, traditionally, substantially different. Builders measure how?
Stud to stud, is it?
Yeah, outside to outside, stud to stud. And where do realtors measure? Wall to wall. When I joined real estate, I looked at everybody and said, what in the HE double toothpicks are you guys doing? You're what? You're just measuring the inside? What? That doesn't matter. What matters is the outside of block or foundation, outside of block foundation. But the consumer says, well, I don't care about the outside of the structure. I care about where I can put my couch. You know? So the builder and the realtor think a little differently, and there's no right and wrong. Are you, if you don't do a great job on the listing, are you responsible? Are you gonna go to real estate prison? Is there anything that's gonna happen if you don't measure a listing inappropriately? You're off. Is there any negatives? Anybody think of one?
Could be.
Could be. I can think of one. Does anybody, I had one listing where I measured it off. I didn't do my due diligence. I wasn't the fiduciary, I was a functionary. I was running and running and running. I just took the old listing and then tweaked it a little bit. And I oversized it. And I missed the fact that somebody had duplicated from a wrong, because like in the townhome association, sometimes they have different floor plans. Probably only 4 of them, but I chose a bigger floor plan, and so when the appraiser came in, guess what happened? They did their job. They measured it. It's the smaller floor plan, not the bigger one. It didn't appraise. So now my sellers are like, well, you told me it was worth this, and now the appraiser says that, and this buyer's only gonna get a loan based upon the appraised value, right? So that was an issue where my sellers had to take a hit, and I had to fork up some of my commission because it was my responsibility, I felt, because I didn't do my due diligence, okay? So, but make sure you do your jobs, and just know that it can come back and bite you in the butt if you're that far off. Draftsmen or architects draw plans, you can always go to professionals, contact myself, Jason, Misha, Jamie, we'll find you people to help you. We're here to help. Keep going. This is what a blueprint looks like. Has anybody ever seen a blueprint for a new construction home? This is one of my first house. You can't see it, but it just shows, you know, the block, dash lines, some solid lines, and this is the foundation. This is the one that's most important. Once you know the shell of the actual structure, you can actually pull measurements, or there's another page that'll actually show that. That's huge if you have access. This is what's called a survey. In order to get a lot, you need to have a surveyor survey the lot, and then they show the perimeter, and then the drainage easements, and they'll show the proposed house and all kinds of numbers, and then you have to meet what's called offsets, and if this is Greek, that's okay, but this is a document you may never see unless you're in new construction or talking to a seller that provides that to you. But that is a useful piece of information to know a little bit about the lay of the land, not so much the listing itself. Okay, we talked a little bit about counties, Dakota, Hennepin, Ramsey, Rice. There are all kinds of links that you can use these resources. Casey, Piper, anybody else? Can you think of any other online resources other than past MLSs, counties, that will provide you pretty quick and easy information? Anybody else? Y'all heard of Realist? Realist is a venue on MLS that will provide you, and Jason's gonna help pull up some listings here in a second. We'll show you if we have time. We're gonna go through that and just take a look. Realist will provide you information. Anybody else? Anything out there quick and easy to find information? Blueprints?
Sometimes RPR.
RPR. I don't know about that. I don't use that as much. Possibly, I bet you're right. Anybody else? Those are 2 or 3 or 4 pieces of information, right? And then we have to get out there and actually do our stuff. I dive into the definition of a bedroom because I find this is important. Real brief, I'm going to spend just a few seconds on it. There's a .com and I can send it to Jason. Jason has it actually. You can forward it to anybody in this room if you'd like it. It goes to the Star Tribune. It's an old article, but it talks about the definition of a bedroom. I found most realtors do not know what a definition of a bedroom is. So rather than asking you questions, we're just going to cruise through it. But just because you don't have a closet does not mean it's not a bedroom. Unless the local municipality says that, IRC, International Residential Building Code, which builders say is the Bible, does not say anywhere in that 4-inch thick manual, anything about needing a closet. Now, a buyer may seem, hey, in my mind, I need a closet to be considered bedroom. Okay, for you and your world, that needs a closet. But for building code, for listings, you do not need a closet. You'll find a lot of homes will not have a closet in a space that is a legal bedroom, i.e. an office. Has a door, has a legal egress, it has 7-foot tall ceilings, it has air that comes in and out through ventilation, all the fun things that are required. It's a legal bedroom. It would be considered, let's say in a traditional 2-story, the first home I built was 1, 2, 3, up, 2 down, and then an office on the main. It was a 6-bed home. If I was to list that property, I would only list it as a 5, and I might say non-conforming 6, it's a conforming 6, but the realtors think it needs a closet. The buyer oftentimes thinks it, so I don't argue, I just say, plus it already has 5 other bedrooms. If it was a 2-bedroom home, I would list it as a legal 3 and then put in the agent notes, conforming 3rd legal bedroom without closet. And if they wanna contest that, they can call me, but at least I can legally list it as a 3-bed home, because a lot of people's portals start at 3 plus. Does that make sense? You can easily go to IKEA and put in a $500 or $1,000 closet, pay a contractor $5,000, and they can put a closet in there for you if they really, really need one. We'll talk about all these as we get through this. And then there's a YouTube clip which I sent to Jason. If we have time, we'll do that. We talked about some of the tools, graph paper, if you're really old school. I don't do that, but you can. Oh my gosh, that's an old slide here. Okay. We talked about inside versus outside, all the fun things. All right, so that is the quick PowerPoint. Now what we're gonna do, Jason, would you mind pulling up MLS? We're gonna take a look at a listing or two. We're gonna go through this. Does anybody have a specific listing they would like, that they have on the market, or that they have been looking at for a buyer that they would like to talk about or ask questions on? Go ahead, raise your hand if you'd like. If you don't, that's fine.
Who's doing an open house this weekend? New Year's, an open house.
Yeah, there we go. Who has one?
I do.
You do. All right, Kelly, where's your open house?
Elm Creek Lane.
Elm Creek Lane, all right.
It's 116, I don't know if that's one.
That's all right.
418 Elm Creek Lane.
Jason's a G Wiz, he can pull that. Just Elm, there it is. Elm Creek Lane, perfect. We are looking at a townhome, townhome side by side. You're familiar with townhomes versus single families. Single family have grass on 4 sides and no HOAs traditionally. And a townhome, you share partition walls. In this case, it's a middle unit, it appears, so you have a neighbor on either side. Maybe even is it a eightplex? Do you have somebody behind you? Do you have any idea?
I
Don't know yet. So you might have just windows on the front, or it might have windows front and back, and it might be what I call a 4-plex. 1, 2, 3, and 4, who knows? Doesn't matter at this point, we can always look later. But nonetheless, that's a duplex you share, that's a townhome, you share partition walls. It was built in 07, almost 90% of the townhomes in the South Metro are built in 04, 5, 6, and 7. I was in the building world back then, and that's all we did. And then they said, oh, they don't sell anymore. And so they stopped building them until a couple years ago, they started building them. Nonetheless, 2-story, so it's what's called a slab on grade. You walk in, there's no basement underneath there, it's a slab, and then they build up. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Kelly? And maybe you haven't been in here, you have not, okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at how to measure that, and then we'll take a look at a single family in a second. So the listing agent, whoever they are, doesn't matter, said the above grade finished square footage is 1424, and they're gonna start here and then we're gonna work their way up, and that right there is a partition wall, and then I'm assuming this fence right here is a partition, so that's the space. They say above grade, there's no below grade, so if Jason scrolls down, we'll go to the foundation, and it'll say somewhere in there. Anybody see it before me? Foundation, it should say slab. I looked at a billion different listings, but I don't even know where it is. There we go, thank you, none. Or slab on grade, it could be either. So they do not have a basement, so they measure the ground up. So what resources in Lakeville do we have to measure this listing? I don't have a chart, so we're just gonna, I'm not, just, we don't need one. I'm just gonna share out loud. So we have the county docs. I don't think Dakota has a lot for measuring, but you can pull up Dakota County and it'll share with us. Thank you, Jason, resourceful. Click on Dakota, if we can do that, wonderful. And then we go to the county docs, and then we go to property information search, and we type in the address one more time. Thank you. 16418. It will then pull up, maybe just 16418. Is it there 16 in the front? Yeah, there is one. That. 1641. There it is. So then we can click the little property search button, and they actually have a property sketch button. And it will tell us what the last permit that was pulled probably back in 2007 when it was being built, suggested information to the city, which then gave it to the county, and then they put it online for public information once that property permit was pulled, and then eventually once it was built and closed on. And that builder gave it to the city, gave it to the county, then sold and recorded. And down here, Fieldstone Homes, I guess anybody know who Fieldstone? That's the plat, but that doesn't mean the builder, but nonetheless, that county then said 1424, so that agent replicated the information they found from the county, right? They said the foundation, which is the GPS or GIS imagery, global satellite down on the earth, says it's a footprint of 658. So if you took that, very simply, if it's a two-story, a traditional two-story, if it's exactly the same amount of square footage up as it is down, you take 628 times 2, and that number is what, Jason, about 1,300? But look at that's 14 and change.
1360.
So how in the heck is that number, thank you, that times 2, that number's bigger? Does anybody have any idea why? If we scroll back up to the picture, Jason, and if you look hard, it's hard to see here, but there is what's called cantilevers. So this garage tucks back underneath. This is hard to do without a whiteboard or something to draw, but nonetheless, the garage goes back underneath and part of this tucks over the garage. Does that make sense? So because you have a cantilever of sorts or more finished square footage on the second level than you do on the lower, that's why there's a bigger area above. By 2010, builders started adding space above the garage intentionally for single families. Has anybody been in an early turn of the century, well, not turn of the century, 2000 or 2005 built home, and the 2 stories are the same amount of square footage up as down, or even older homes? That's traditional. And then by 2010, the builder said, well, wait a minute, I can increase the truss over the garage and build living spaces up and over the garage. And I can create 4 bedrooms and a loft in that 2-story house. Is that making sense to anybody? Ever been in a house that felt bigger upstairs? That's why builders do that. So when you measure your listings, which we're gonna show you in a second, you're gonna notice that sometimes the data you wanna cross-compare with the county. If you have this wonderful, go in there with your tape measure, pretty good chance that's gonna be fairly accurate. Questions on any of that so far? All right, so how do we measure that listing then? Is there any way to get exterior dimensions on this townhome with, let's say, behind you, on the side, and on the other side, there's other structures? Can you pull outside dimensions on that property with a tape measure like you could a single-family home? No way. You better find resources, an old blueprint, an old listing, or go inside and you're gonna do your laser trick from wall to wall where my laser is, and you're gonna find that dimension, or you're gonna take your tape measure, and you're gonna literally have to sketch it out on that old school graph paper, right? This is gonna be difficult. It's rare if almost ever you'll ever do this because you'll have old information, so you're gonna do what Lisa does. She's a fiduciary, she goes in there, she measures the room space, puts it on Scratchpad, does her math, cross compares with the county, and says, looks like they were spot on, okay? Questions on any of that? All right, let's go to a single family home. Does anybody else wanna bring up a single family?
I have one.
Let's do it.
My problem is I tried to pull up the tax records because the information on the class was incorrect.
Okay,
The house number is 10817,
0817.
Street, Upton Avenue.
Upton and Bloomington, all right. Okay, so we have a 1965 built one-story Rambler, and if I heard you correctly, you went on to the county docks.
I did, I tried to go on the county docs,
Okay.
but the information in the envelopes was incorrect. It's 6 bedrooms,
Okay,
3 bathrooms.
6'3", so it either has changed since it was last on the market in 11 when it came off,
No,
or it was inaccurately,
I think it was inaccurately put in.
okay?
And so it has a basement that's smaller.
Basement that's smaller, this
Yeah,
one
And
says,
then it has the above the garage living space as well.
okay,
But nothing has been added or changed
nothing has been added or changed.
since it was sold.
Okay, so if it was a Rambler which had the same, is it possible, by the way, to have a Rambler, one-level home with the exact same amount of finished square footage in the basement as there is upstairs on the main level? Is that possible? Usually not. I've never seen it. I'm sure it is, but I haven't seen it. Why? It's Natasha?
Yeah.
Yeah, Natasha, why not?
Because the garage is in the living space.
Garage is in a living space, and what else down below in the basement is not usually finished?
Utility.
Yeah, the utility or mechanical room. So you always have to take the unfinished space off. So if the overall GPS footprint was, we'll find it by clicking that button in a second. Let's just do that now, Jason, if you don't mind. We're gonna go and click on that button. That's gonna bring us to Realist. Okay, really handy dandy little resource. And then there's another link that'll bring you down to the county so you can fast track if you have no listing. It is blue and you can click on it, so you just learned something. Yeah, look at that, brings you right to Realist. Right here, okay, there's another way to get to, there are lots of ways to get to Realist. But let's see what Hennepin County says about Upton. So if we scroll down, one name owner, is that what you're highlighting?
That's my last name.
Ah, there we go, family, love it, awesome. Okay, so the county then gives you a little more information here, which is nice. Oh, well, Realist does. So they said built in 65, that's correlating with the last MLS. Total building square footage, 5430. Okay, so that's the entire envelope. I bet that even includes probably the garage. The basements,
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't add up at all.
okay? Why?
Because the basement is not that big.
It's, yeah, that's a big house.
Well, way smaller. We
Yeah.
have
Okay,
2 bedrooms down there and a bathroom.
well, let's do this. Let's go one more layer deep. What's that Leonardo DiCaprio movie where they?
Inception.
Inception. We're gonna take Inception. Let's go another layer deeper, Jason. I love it. There is another blue button with the link that'll take you to the county docs, I promise, somewhere here. I gotta step away so it doesn't, there it is. Little PID number. Let's go to Hennepin County. Another layer deeper. All right, I'm in definite dream world here now, right? So, okay, let's take a look. And let's see if we can learn anything from Hennepin. Probably not.
It doesn't give you much.
It really doesn't,
No,
does
it
it?
doesn't.
Okay, good. Love that. Woohoo, challenge. All right, so what are we gonna do now? Now that Hennepin doesn't tell us much, we don't trust Realist. What do?
Measure.
We gotta go measure it. Yeah. Do you have access to blueprints?
I do not.
Okay, very traditional. Once it's a 1990 or even 2000 and older, somebody's lost it in right? Somebody's lost that somewhere. So now we gotta go out and measure that listing. How in the heck are we gonna do that? Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out that graph paper, and we're gonna take a tape measure, and we're gonna go wall to wall to wall to wall to wall, all the way around the exterior. Question?
So, okay, around the exterior.
Around the exterior on the main level. And if it's is it a flat lot where it doesn't drop, it's a full basement?
It's a full basement, it goes into the garage.
Yeah.
You go up the stairs, you have a full, like, added on
Yeah.
living area, 2 living areas
Okay.
actually. And then added over the garage bedroom.
So now, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
over the garage bedrooms, there's a loft in it then?
It's not really a lot, it's like, it's connected fully.
Yeah.
So I can't even describe it.
That's okay.
It's unique.
It's unique, I love it. So I'm gonna, Jason, if you're okay with this, I'm gonna share ideas. I'm not gonna visually draw this out because I don't have a drawing
Do you
board
want me to grab
here.
you one?
It's up to you. I mean,
Jamie's grabbing the drawing board.
if
There's
you're,
one in the.
is there really? If there's these, thank you, Jim.
Sure.
What I'm gonna explain. What I'm gonna explain is, you're gonna measure all the space, and then what you're gonna do is work backwards. And then you're gonna go into the garage, and you're gonna measure the garage cavity, okay? And then you're gonna draw on your graph where you feel the garage may be. Like it's a blueprint, like that original blueprint I showed you earlier. You're gonna literally recreate this structure. And if they've added on, which they probably have, a lot of the Bloomington 1965s have added on once or twice since it was built, not abnormal. Then you're gonna have to scratch your head and go into the basement. You're gonna have to do the same thing, measure out the basement. The reason I asked if it was a lookout full basement or flat, if it's flat or, not a walkout, not a lookout, it's full.
It's a full basement, you can't even use an egress to get out.
No egress to get out. You could maybe add an egress, but there's none there
Yeah, there's
currently,
like
or-
a small window,
There's a
I don't
small
think it meets the guidelines for an egress.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not entirely sure.
Well, if it's a flat, full basement lot, flat lot, full basement, super easy. Just walk around the whole thing and you're on flat ground, right? You just measure it all on your graph paper and you're gonna work backwards and try and recreate it. If this is a little overwhelming, you may wanna bring in somebody, leverage somebody to assist you, but you're gonna measure that out, okay? Then you're going to the basement, you're gonna duplicate that, you're gonna do the same thing, work backwards and try and figure out the finished square footage. This individual listing team agent, whomever, said there was a grand total of 1916 above grade, which is a good sized Rambler floor plan. And then below grade, they only finished about half of that. So that's not accurate, okay?
And
Thank you, Gene.
nothing's been done, everything else since it was bought, so
Okay. Would you say the basement's bigger or smaller than?
definitely bigger.
Bigger than?
Yeah,
And is it all finished?
yes.
Okay, do you know,
Besides the utility.
besides utility, does anybody know what the definition of finished space is, by the way? Has a ceiling, maybe.
Maybe.
I've seen appraisers, good question, I've seen appraisers, the architectural style where it's painted and looks real cute, but there's no drywall or false. I've seen appraisers mark that up as finished space, believe it or not. Rare occasion, but yes, I have. Anybody else know what a finished space is by definition?
Drywall, painted.
Drywall, painted, yep.
Flooring.
Flooring, what kind of flooring? Laminate,
Vinyl.
vinyl, carpet,
Hardwood.
hardwood. I used to work for a concrete construction company and the price per square foot on acid staining was 5 times more expensive than any traditional flooring I've ever seen. And some people say, that's cold concrete. The buyer may not like it, they may not want to pay for it, but it's 5 times more expensive than carpet, easily, maybe 10. That's finished, even though it's only acid stained concrete. And in my world, it's like, that's fancy. But in the other person's world, oh, I want warm carpet.
Does
Lisa?
it have to have a heat source to be finished?
Yes, it has to have heated
And
air.
electric too?
An electric too?
Electricity.
Yes.
Plumbing.
Plumbing? That would
If
be,
it has a bathroom.
if it has a bathroom. I don't know about the plumbing answer, but if it has a bathroom, yes. I would say drywall painted, a floor surface acid stain works. You can do a cheap linoleum or a cheap Rust-Oleum, $50 a gallon, $30 a gallon, whatever is epoxy floor coating, which is cheap. Or porch light paint, $40 a gallon. You can do all that, that's all finished. But the builder guy, the appraiser guy, gal, the privy owner knows that that's cheap, that's medium, that's top of the line. And that's how you appraise or market a property.
So those carpet squares are never counted as finished, right? Like the,
Yeah,
Okay.
the 2x2 Home Depot
Yes.
put together stuff.
Yeah.
The builder guy says, if it's expensive and it's for a nice exercise room, that's one thing, but if it's, you know, $8.99 a square that somebody just threw together, you know, I take that divided by the 4 square feet and I go, well, that's $2 a square foot stuff. The average carpet I start at is $4 or $5 a square. Yeah, it's finished, but I'm not giving you a whole lot for that finished space. So you may only get $30 a square foot overall value for that finished basement, where today you may have an idea how much dollar per square foot it costs to hire an average contractor to finish your basement with average finishes.
40,000.
40,000 for a traditional home, which could be about how many dollars a square foot here to guess, Lisa? If it's 1,000 square, it'd be 40, right? But if it's 800 square, then it's 50 or 60. I would say 50 to 60 bucks a square foot might get you a fireplace, might not. It's gonna get you drywall, it's gonna get you paint, all that fun stuff. And floor trim. You do need floor trim for it to be finished space. But there's $10 and $20 square foot stuff I've been in, and I'm like, that's, yeah, I'm spoiled, terrible, horrible buyer. You do not want to represent me as a buyer. I'm like, that's all gone, tearing it all out, we're starting over. So it's not only is it a negative, but it's gonna cost me money to tear it all out. And then I'm gonna start over, so I'm gonna pay them less because they put such a cheap finish in there.
What about that cool carpet like
There we
have
go.
here?
That cool carpet over there, as far as quality,
Well, I'm saying that, you know, that would count
I think
for
so.
finished space.
I think so. Commercial it does, so I don't know why it wouldn't residential, yeah. Good question. Yep, but yes,
To
Lisa.
reiterate, you said it has to have trim, so if everything else
It
is
does.
done but no trim, it
It's
won't
not
count.
finished in my understanding.
Okay.
You might find one appraiser, I'm looking at what appraisers say, because for our world, they're the most important. Cares about the builder and all that, that's all long gone. Yep.
A concrete floor, I can take only if it's,
Finish sort.
like they put some color on it or something, but if it's
Yeah.
just, if it's painted
The cheapest of the cheap, I've seen them count that,
and
yep.
it's painted, it's okay.
And I've had listing agents list with just the cheapest of the cheap. Remember the old 1970s paneling? Yeah, you put the paneling with like a porch light paint, you walk in and you're like, I wanna get out of this space as fast as possible. Bad memories of when I was a child and locked in the closet or, you know. I was just at a house the other day, they had that room in one of the bedrooms, I'm teasing, but we were joking about it. That room is finished. As a listing agent, I would advise highly against listing it with that finished space, because if I show up and you count that as finished space, and you charge me $50 a square foot, or I calculate and you're seeing me that you gave me 50 bucks a square for that finish, I'm gonna call the agent and say, you just wasted my time. Thank you for wasting my time. Actually, is it their fault? I'm not gonna do that, by the way. It's my fault, because I didn't call them and do the research before I showed up. It's not the listing agent's fault, and they don't know. But I know that I just wasted my client's time, because if they list at X and it's only worth Y, what a waste. Because it's only $10, $15, $20 a square foot, Lisa. Does that make sense? You go to a builder, like I represent a builder, and they're gonna charge you 50 a square, and then if you wanna put a fireplace and some nice tile showers and da-da-da, that's 70,000, 50,000 turns into 70,000, so $70 a square foot, maybe $80 a square foot. Am I confusing the heck out of everybody? We're getting sidetracked. I'm gonna come back to center here. Yes,
can I just make sure, I know I came in late,
absolutely.
but the definition of finished square feet,
Yes,
it's what is actually within each room combined? Like,
Yes.
for instance, we lived in a house where we found out when we came to remodel the bathroom
yes.
that the space where the closet bumped up to the bathroom, there was a good 4 feet that they had just never done anything with, and they had drywalled, and so it was like this empty cavern that you could never access in the basement.
So if I heard you correctly, the empty cavern did have drywall in it?
It was just drywalled around, like
Oh,
they
I
didn't
see.
actually make the bathroom as big as they could
I
have,
see, so that was just.
or the
empty
closet
space.
as big as they could have.
So though the foundation, which we still don't know because we haven't measured yet, is, let's just make it super simple. We're gonna say the foundation is a square, okay? And then they put a garage into it, and this is your actual basement. Okay, so then you measure your US, upside down US flag type design. And then what I would do is I would just measure this. And I would measure this. And and then I would measure this square, and that's your garage, so that didn't have a foundation underneath. And then you go upstairs, that again is not counted, and you have to do the same thing. Well, those replicate almost exactly. We'll talk about measuring here in a second. To answer your question, if a portion of this basement bathroom, they just did not finish, or, that's drywalled off.
Yeah.
Though it counts for overall square footage when you're measuring out, you're below your total finished, foundation dimensions, it'll be in the foundation dimensions, and it'll be in the foundation size. It will not be in your finished square footage.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So there's two numbers. There's the builder number, how big is it? Outside dimensions only, unless you're in a townhome that you can't measure, then you just go inside dimensions. Everybody follow me a little bit? Okay, and then there's finished. And this is what most people care about for appraisal reasons, because you can have the biggest foundation in the world, but if there's not a lot of finished space, and most people don't look at that as a lot of value. Appraisers do, realtors, investors do, because if there's a lot of space to utilize, they may want to utilize that space where others have it, and they say, a lot of value, they just didn't finish a lot of it yet. Equity building opportunity, that's another class, we won't get into that too much. So let's go super simple. Let's say this is your house or this property here. And in this scenario, you're gonna measure, they thought the average, this was a 90 by 105 lot. And Jason, help me, do they have a number for the dimensions of the property? I don't see, no, they don't. They didn't have that. Kelly wasn't on them. Kelly would have been like, I'm not listening to this unless you give me foundation dimensions, right? Kelly's really good in this office, so I'll help him with that. So if Kelly said, you missed it, the agent would have put it on there, they would have said, okay, this is a 20 by 40. 20 by 40 is 800 square feet. And then we're gonna add to the back of the garage, this is also 20. Okay, right, this is, penmanship's horrible, by the way, but 20 feet, 20 feet, 40 feet, and let's say this is, make it super simple, another 20. So the overall of this envelope is a 60 by 20. Very few homes are only 20 feet deep, but it could be. So 2020 is now looking at another 400 square. So this property is 1,200 overall usable foundation size. And then upstairs is another 1,200, and that's all finished. So this number here would be above grade finished square feet, 1,200. Below grade, we have to cross off the mechanical. This one's the mechanical room, let's say, big mechanical storage room. So now you have 800 finished in the basement, 1,200 upstairs. Grand total finished square foot would be 2,000 total finished square feet. Super, super simple. How many homes are like this that we measure? Very, very few. Okay, now it gets more complex. So, Natasha, your home, question?
There might be a picture of the front on there, so you can visualize it a little bit better.
Your 1965s are traditionally built pretty easy. They're kind of rectangles. 1965, and I go back to a different brain, but a Bloomington builder in 65 didn't do what builders started getting cutesy with in the 90s and 2000s. Lots of angles and 45s and all the things that make real estate agents' lives miserable. So here's an overlay, so you can see it does overlay the foundation. The upstairs main level is going to be bigger in the basement because you have unfinished there, and then you walk into a mechanical room on the back or on the front side probably.
No, you walk into a big living room.
A big living room, somewhere in here is a mechanical
Yeah, on the way back.
On the way back, okay?
You turn right, there's a stairs, go up the stairs.
Okay.
And then all the way to the right is the mechanical room, and it leads all the way through the house, so the entirety of the house.
So good news, you could take a tape measure, you might have to get a 50-footer or 100-footer, or use a Stanley 35, mark it to there, start there and pull again, mark it there, pull it again, mark it there, and then get your overall length. And then you're gonna take the other side and you're gonna measure the depth. That's pretty traditional 65 Bloomington Rambler. And then you're gonna note your basement's gonna be bigger, and then you go inside the garage and you're gonna measure the cavity and subtract that from the overall structure to determine the over finished square footage here and then the finished square footage below.
Okay.
Anybody, is this like spinning people's heads, or is this making sense? This is, again, I would call a little more on the simpler side as far as overall floor plans. Jason, questions so far?
Oh, it's nice and square.
It is, love it, love it, love it. What else isn't there here? There's no bump outs, right? So sometimes you'll see where you have a Well, bay window is easy. Bay windows are traditionally, I don't consider those square finished. But you might see, you know, a little bump out for a finished space. Well, now you have to measure length times width and add that to the finished square feet. Or on the back side, maybe they added a sunroom. That's pretty simple again, right? Squares, lots of squares, add squares. So now you take your 800 plus your, let's say this is 100 square feet. And then you've got a sunroom that's 14 by 15, we'll just use round numbers and say 150 square, let's say 200 square foot here. And you're gonna add and subtract all this for your overall finished square foot above. And then you're gonna note below, the foundation's actually bigger. You're gonna take out the garage, take out the mechanical room, and cross-reference and essentially determine the overall finish. So it's definitely not 3,000 square just by looking at this like the US side or 3,800.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we go back to the original screen, cross that off for a second, please, Jason?
We can.
Thank you, sir. So we have foundation size, you all understand what that means, right? GPS aerial view. Foundation dimensions, you may have to pull some tape measurements to determine that. Above grade finished square feet, is there any time you've ever been on a home, any type of home, where the above grade finished square foot was not all finished?
If they don't have a basement and the mechanical room is on the 9th floor.
Boom, that's one. Anybody else? Slab on grade rambler. They have to have a bomb shelter or mechanical built in there somewhere. Unfinished, good. Anybody else?
My parents used to have like a 2-season porch on it.
Sure, great. Awesome. So this space, instead of a 3-season or 4-season, anybody know the difference between 2, 3, and 4 seasons?
Summer and winter.
Summer and winter.
One's windows and like
Yeah.
enclosed and then one's just screen
Wonderful.
walling.
It's a deck with some screens on it,
Yeah.
right? Is that finished, a deck with some screens on
No,
it? Does it have movable air?
yeah. Well, no.
It does, but just not from
Yes.
the house, right? You know, a lot of wind.
Yeah.
That climate control.
Climate control, thank you. So if it doesn't have HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning type of components, and I've even seen where they have heat ducts, but it's an old boiler system for the old house, and so they had to so they have heating, somehow they had a radiator, but they had to put supplemental AC unit in there to get the AC. So now it's considered a 3-season. What makes it a 4-season?
Insulation.
Insulation could be in a 3 and a 4. Anything
The
else?
flooring underneath even,
Heating, cooling.
electricity.
Heating, cooling. And electricity can be in a 3, but heating, cooling makes it a 4 to my knowledge. So once it has heating, cooling, and air ducts, now it's a 4-season. If you eliminate those, it's 3. And then what makes it a 2 is it's basically a deck with some, yeah. If it's a deck, it's not finished. If it's a 3-season, you can count it, but people know, okay, well, you gotta deduct a little bit of money because there's not heating and air conditioning. And you can only use it 6 or 8 months out of the year, maybe 9. Yada, yada. So, but yes, you would count that in the above grade finished square footage if it was a 3 or 4. Below grade, we discussed, subtract the mechanical, and then you're gonna add the overall total finished, and that's the number you're gonna get, okay? We only have 5 minutes, and we really didn't dive too deep into other listings. We might pull up another one. Lisa?
That's
Yes.
a question.
Absolutely.
What's the difference between year built and effective year built? The first property we looked at had that.
Okay, great question. I don't know.
My understanding of it is, at some point, the house was remodeled or like added on.
Okay?
And my listing is that way, and I'm getting questioned, yep, right there.
Boy, over my pay grade. I've never seen that. When I look at homes, I look at the foundation. Let's say a home got burnt down. You ever seen a home that got burnt down and rebuilt on?
Yes.
But the home is brand spanking new as of 1995,
The foundation's still
but
the
the
same.
foundation's a 65.
So I got some kickback
Yeah.
on my listing because I have it in there effective the year built that property taxes says. Because like 90% of the house was extended at a new foundation.
Feels like a newer home.
Yeah, basically. A portion of the house
Yeah.
is still the old foundation.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
What, I would say if it's more than 50% of the foundation is the old foundation, I'm going to the older age. I'm marking at the older age, and then in agent notes, I'm gonna tell everybody, I get what I said in the notes, but don't worry about that. 90% is brand new, 50 or 30% of the foundation's new, add it on. It looks, tastes, and smells and feels like a newer home. But I have to put the older data in there. And so when it's valued and being appraised, it's a, what was the new updates done? Let's say 1990. 1990, it's a 1990 home. But the foundation was put in 65. Does that make sense? Okay. Oh, look at Jason. ChatGPT says, can evaluation,
That represents the current physical condition.
home was built in 50, a significant remodeling. Then it's effectively a 2005, if I'm reading that correctly. There you
So
go.
I can't do it.
Great
I
job,
can't have
Jason.
any more one, okay.
Yeah, it's effectively, but would I list it as 05 or a 1950? I would list it as a 50 if the foundation's greater than 50% of the old foundation. And I would say, looks, tastes, smells, feels like an 05. It's an 05. Don't worry about the 50. It's just I had to follow the MLS rules.
But
So-
if it's under 50, you would use the new.
I would, yeah, which is rare, but yeah. Okay, that's that listing. We should look at one more because I think we really are here. I'm gonna make sure I'm going over the top questions. The top questions were how to measure, which we're dabbling with. Misha said measuring, Jamie said measuring,
Is there certain tools that are make your job
Tools.
easier?
photographers, Matterport, those systems, I absolutely use Casey and Piper.
But I mean, like, if you're, for measuring the foundation, like,
I go old school and I take a Stanley 35 footer. And I have a 50-foot reel. I've got 100 and a 200, but I don't use those. I use the Stanley and the 50. I hook on. If we went to the YouTube link that we're gonna look at in a second, I'm gonna have Jason send that to anybody that wants it. In the YouTube link, it'll show how to go with the graph paper. Because we're limited on time, I don't know that we're gonna actually look at that video. If anybody wanted to spend a few minutes, I'm happy to do that afterwards, unless there's another class right at noon. I wanna be respectful for everybody's time, so we can get out. You can go to this YouTube link that Jason will then send to everybody, and it will do what I was going to share. You wanna fast forward a little bit, Jason? It's an old school video, but she's literally taking a 1930s, 40s, 50s built home in some I think this.
Could you move the measuring measure also? I've got graph paper on it. I use graph paper because it helps me kind of line things up and make sure I'm measuring things correctly.
She's gonna,
My
on a
graph
piece of
paper
graph paper,
It's
pull
marked up in
a
10
50
squares
footer,
per large square.
go
So if
corner
it's
to
20 feet
corner,
across,
all the
I
way
just do
around.
10, 20, and I'm done.
Okay.
I don't have to add.
And
Most
she's
graph
gonna-
paper
we'll
comes
just
in 8
pause that for a
squares,
second,
so make sure you
Jason.
look for the 10 squares.
Be positive.
I also have a pen.
I sure can.
She's gonna go around all the spaces. Now on your turn of the century, she's gonna go up, it's a 1.5 story, which is the equivalent of a newer construction 2-story. A 1.5 story has where upstairs, you're gonna have, you know, something that looks like this for a space. Where a 1980s and newer, you know, this is your upstairs space, right? It's all flat. Why? Because the roof was actually raised. This is where your roof line is on this house. On this one, your roof goes out here. Right? They just started building and they raised the roof. Raise the roof, raise the roof. So what she's gonna do is say anytime she's gonna measure down here to 5 feet. From 5 feet to this spot here where it's 5 feet, in that cavity, you can measure this as finished square footage. You cannot measure this as finished square footage. Does that make sense? So 5 feet of elevation is where, because you ever seen them where they go way down almost to nothing?
Yeah.
You can't live in that space, let's be honest. If it's drywall and carpet, good for you, but that's not space you can use. So she's gonna measure 5 feet over. In a kitchen, she's gonna go over the countertops, all the way wall to wall. Don't worry about where the 2-foot countertops are. That's still space you can go for room dimensions. So if we could go back to a listing real quickly, Jason, the one that we were looking at earlier. When we go to room, so this is the important stuff here, you guys. When we go room to room space, for the kitchen, this is all just, you know, how do I fit my couch? How do I do this? She's gonna go over the countertop to the wall, all the way to the wall. In a built-in situation in a living room, she's gonna go through the built-in. Actually, she does not, my mistake. On a living room, she goes, they're thinking about the couch. I'm gonna go from the outside of the built-in to the wall, because that's what's important to the consumer. You do not add all these up and expect to get to that overall total finished square footage. There's no correlation there. That's one of the commonly asked questions for people.
So you measure from the window to the wall?
Shut.
Thought it was quiet.
Sorry.
I love it. I love it. This is good. This is good. We're over our time limit.
Perfect.
We have a class right now.
Yep, Tony's ready to go.
Let's do it. All right.
Hey, let's give Chad a huge round of applause. I mean, the thing about measure analysis is I've seen him do this, we could talk about this for hours, because there's so many special cases. One question I would ask to let you wrap up is, what about angles? How do you handle an angled space?
Great question. So if we have 45-degree spaces, what I do, super simple. Let's say that's a room right here. I'm gonna use very simple math. All I do is I measure length by width and I subtract 50% of it, right? Or if I have a closet that jettisons in for room measuring, is that primarily your question?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yep.
If you have a closet, I'm gonna go length by width. Let's say this is, just make it easy now, we can get rid of the
10 by
45.
10.
10 by 10, we're gonna, and that's a 4 by 4. If that measurement is less than 50% of the wall, I'm measuring the whole darn space. If it's over 50% of the wall, now this space is here, I'm eliminating all of this, and I'm only giving room dimensions for here. If it's a big enough space, and I really wanna quantify this, because I need every square foot I can get for my listing, I'll create a new room there. I'll create another room environment, say flex room. So this is a living room, that's a entertainment room. Does that make sense? But usually I just eliminate it from the room measurements.
They have an amusement.
It might have an amusement room. Yep. Lots of stuff. You guys, there's so many resources. Jason can email this listing, 12-minute link. I recommend you watch that. And then circle back with me on case-by-case situations, and I would be happy to discuss. All right. Thanks, everybody.
If that's to everybody.
A lot of those